African Commission on Agricultural Statistics, AFCAS, brings together senior statistics officials from FAO member countries of the African continent. The experts are presently in Libreville from November 4 to 8. We have here Mr. Rosero, Moncayo, Director in charge of the Statistics Division at the FAO, based in Rome, Italy. Mr. Rosero Moncayo, welcome to this special edition on Gabon 24.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm enjoying the hospitality of Gabonese people.
Amazing. Can you tell us about yourself, your background, and why you are here presently in Libreville?
Okay, so I am national from Ecuador in South America. I have a PhD in economics and statistics. Right now, as you have said, I am the director of the Statistics Division of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Been doing that for the last 3 years. But before going to FAO, I was the chief statistician of my country, Ecuador, for a period of 4 years. And before that, I was also serving the government of Ecuador as Vice Minister of Social Development, dealing with issues such as poverty eradication, inequality, and social protection.
Can you, before we go deeper in the subject, but can you tell us more about statistics and agriculture? We know statistics, we know agriculture, but what is the link, and why is your commission important for us?
Thank you. That's a very important question, because a lot of people think in statistics in terms of numbers, cold numbers. But the relevant thing to say about that is that behind the numbers there are stories that have to be told. They are told in terms of numbers, but there are realities that has to be told and has to be taken into account by people that do policies, especially in government. In the agricultural sector, we do economical activities that have to be measured, because the evidence that comes from statistics is very vital for policymakers, in this case in the Ministry of Agriculture, to develop policies that can improve the conditions of the people that base their lives on these type of activities. And when we talk about agriculture, we are not talking about crop production. We are also talking about livestock activities. We are also talking about fishery, forestry, and in general, the use of natural resources. The African Commission of Agricultural Statistics is simply the most important forum to discuss agricultural statistics in the continent, in Africa. And we meet each other every 2 years in order to discuss the progress on agricultural statistics. And also it's very important for FAO because it's the way that we receive, as an organization, we receive feedback from countries on how we can target better our action to support the strengthening of statistical capacities at country level.
Can you tell us in brief what have been the FAO activities in food and agricultural statistics relevant to Africa region since the last 25th session of the Commission? Because we know that you say that every 2 years you gather, but the last 25th session, what has been the last activities, and is there any update from that?
No, so of course 2 years have passed by and multiple activities have happened. And this has been motivated not only about on the recommendations that were given in the last edition of AFCAS, but also in the international context that we are observing. It is very important to mention the appearance of the Sustainable Development Goals agenda, the famous SDG agenda, that challenged the countries to improve the development of their countries. And in order to monitor the 169 targets of the Sustainable Development Agendas, there is a need to increase the amount of data that we produce. There is also other type of agendas, more continental or more regional. In the case of Africa, we have Africa 2063, and we have, especially in agriculture, the Malabo Declaration that also demands for information to be produced, and that's a big challenge. So FAO has renewed its effort to support countries on building the capacities, okay, that they need in order to collect, produce, and disseminate agricultural statistics for policymaking.
You know, for our viewers that don't understand exactly technical terms, we went through your official document for the 26th session, and we see technical terms like Sustainable Development Goal Indicators. We see also Aquastat. What are those exactly about? Can you tell us for our viewers?
Sure. In September 2015, all the states that are members of the United Nations, they signed an agreement that is basically the willingness of these countries to develop according to 169 targets grouped in 17 Sustainable Development Goals. In order to monitor the progress of the countries towards those 169 targets, there has been elaborated an indicator framework, and that's basically what we call the SDG indicators, the Sustainable Development Goal indicators. There are 231 indicators that countries have to produce. So just by the number, you can imagine the big challenge that countries face. Out of the 231 indicators, 21, almost 10% of them, have to do with agriculture. Again, agriculture in the extended way, including fishery and forestry and natural resource activities. And the purpose of my organization, the goal of my organization, is to support countries on the collection and dissemination of these 21 SDG indicators.
Okay.
You also mentioned a second topic, that is Aquastat. Aquastat is our dissemination platform in FAO to disseminate what is happening in one of the most important natural resources that human beings have, that is water.
Water.
Okay? Natural resource that is being put under a lot of pressure by all the activities that are performed by human beings. Mm-hmm. And agriculture is one of them. Agriculture is one of the main activities that absorb or need water to function. So Aquastat gives information, updated information, on what is the supply of renewable water resources, but also what is the withdrawal of water from different human activities, agricultural being one of them, and also give some statistics in terms of how much water, for example, is used in irrigation, that is very important for agriculture, and the amount of water, for example, that is used for human consumption, that is also very much related with the health conditions of the population.
The FAO measures food security. We know that this is one of your goals as an organization, but how does statistics gets into the mix, you know, when we talk about food security, because African countries, we have to struggle about this. How can you help as a structure in the FAO to help these countries?
Yes, food security, as you mentioned, is one of the main mandates of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. Our first strategic objective is about eradicating hunger. And we cannot basically sleep until we don't support countries to eradicate this epidemic of hunger. In order to measure hunger and food security, FAO statistics work in different ways. We have two main indicators that are also part of the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG indicator framework. One is the first one, that is the traditional one, that measures the percentage of the population in a country whose daily and habitual energy intake is lower than the minimum requirement that a person needs in order to function in an adequate way. Mm-hmm. Okay? So in order to do that, we have to determine what is the minimum requirement of a specific population, and we have basically to measure the energy intake of the population.
So it changes by country?
Every country doesn't have the same, and it changes on time.
Okay.
Okay? A second indicator that we have, that actually is a new methodology, a new method that we have in order to measure food insecurity, is the one that has been named the Food Insecurity Experience Scale. We measure the prevalence of severe or moderate food insecurity based on this scale. Why it's new and why so innovative is because it's based on the experience of people. So with a very simple questionnaire of 8 questions, we ask the people about their experiences toward accessing food, and with that information, we process indicators of food security in different levels. Severe, on one hand, that is the one that is attached more to hunger. Okay, one person that is in a situation of severe food insecurity is suffering from hunger. But also, it allows us to measure food insecurity in other levels, for example, in moderate levels. Probably this person is not suffering from hunger, okay, so he has been able to eat, but is suffering from the point of view that is reducing the quantity and especially the quality of the food that this person used to have in the past. That's the way that we measure what we call chronic hunger or chronic food insecurity.
Okay, this is very important what you are talking about. But we also read about the 50 times 20, 30 initiative, which is said to be an ambitious effort to conduct regular surveys of farming households in 50 low or lower middle income countries by 2030. Can you tell us what are the latest progresses and opportunities for African countries? Because we know it is a challenge you are setting for yourself, but how does African country benefit from that?
Thank you for making that question, because you have touched what we consider to be the jewel of the crown. Okay. That's the spearhead of our strategy to strengthen the capacities of countries to produce agricultural statistics. It's a program that is driven, is a survey-driven approach in which we have the objective to support, as you mentioned, 50 countries by the year 2030 to collect in a constant and sustainable way agricultural surveys. African countries have a very special priority, okay? Because of their development conditions, our organization and also the other partners in this initiative, because let me clarify that this is a multi-stakeholder initiative, we are very much interested in supporting with a specific priority African countries.
So there are other countries out of Africa that can benefit from that program?
Countries out of Africa can also benefit from that, from the program, but it is true that our organizations and also donors have specified very clearly that there is a specific priority with African countries, especially the ones that are considered to be low and lower middle income countries, in which there are included the majority of the countries that are considered to be the poorest countries in the world. As I was saying, this is a multi-stakeholder initiative. It's not only the FAO, but also the World Bank and the International Fund of Agricultural Development, that is, it's called IFAD, that is also a Rome-based United Nations agency. The three of us, we have partnered in order to be able to have this program of data collection, but also we are making some innovations in a way that this is not going to be a program only about collecting data or statistics per se. Because you can imagine a situation in which we collect the data, but if that data is not being used, okay, by researchers, analysts, policymakers, the media even, there is no purpose to even collect the data. So there is a specific component on this initiative to build the bridge between the data and the statisticians on one hand and the users on the information on the other hand. We want the data to be used.
That's very important what you're saying, but talking about policy making, you are here in Gabon. Have you chosen this country because of kind of progresses it made, or did you just came at random? What happened? Is Gabon an example about what you just said?
So in the list of low and lower middle income countries, Gabon is included. So Gabon for sure can benefit from this initiative. And we are very much inclined in supporting countries that have the commitment, okay, to work with us, to partner with us in strengthening agricultural statistics. Gabon has shown their commitment. They are actually hosting this African Commission for Agricultural Statistics, and that's a reflection of the importance that the Gabonese government give to the agricultural sector and also the collection of data for policy purposes.
Can you tell us more about the major partners FAO has in its statistical program? In what you said there are partners, there are people, there are donators. How does it function?
Yes, so in order to do our work, you can imagine that not a single institution have the capacity of the resources to have a very big impact by its own, okay? So in this era, partnerships are very important. By partnership, we manage to escalate our efforts in a way that we can serve more countries than in a model in which each one of us will do it by ourselves. And especially because we want to create synergies and we want to avoid duplications, okay? We have seen that many, many times, in which in a single country, there is not only one institution, but there are 2, 3, 20 institutions working, okay? And they are not working together. They are working just repeating more or less the same thing that the other ones are doing.
And they are looking for financing, all of them.
Exactly. So we want to avoid that through partnerships. The donors as well, they want to partner with us because they see that as implementing partners, we are coordinating and we want to work together. For example, for the 50 by 2030 initiative, we have received support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That is a big player in terms of funding development and especially in terms of funding data. But they have also been complemented by the international cooperation agencies of the United States, of Australia, of Italy, and just lately by the European Commission. Partnership is crucial.
Thank you, sir. I recall that you are Jose Rosero, Director in charge of the Statistics Division at the FAO, based in Rome, Italy. Thank you for having been with us. We hope to see you soon in our country again.
Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure to be here, and I hope to see more of your country as well.
Thanks for following us on Gabon 24 in this special report on the 26th session on the IFCAS in Libreville. Our programs are available on our socials, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You can follow us. Keep watching Gabon 24. See you soon.